What's going on, everybody? Dave here at the Reef Aquarium shop in Indianapolis, Indiana. It is Tuesday, a little after 6 p.m. now, but every Tuesday at 6 p.m. You can join us right here for a live stream where we will pick a topic, discuss that, and then at the very end of the stream, we open it up to just a general Q&A, so you can ask any questions about the topic we're speaking about, the aquarium hobby in general, the Reef Aquarium shop. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments below, and I will be very excited to answer those for you at the end of the stream. So don't feel like I am ignoring you or anything if you are watching this live. Even if you're not watching this live, if you're coming in afterwards, you can still drop your questions in the comments, and whenever I see those, I will come back through and answer those for you. But as people are jumping in here, what's going on, Audrey? Speaking of which, before we get into the subject at hand, which again this week is betas. Last week I was kind of all over the place, to be honest. I had a trouble focusing on the actual topic at hand, which was is the beta actually a good fish for beginners? Which the overall answer to that is yes, but in addition, I also announced our contest that we have running on our Facebook page. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check out that video, or just go check out our Facebook page and look for that post about the contest. Now, again, while we were accumulating people, I am going to go ahead and go over a few things that's going on at the shop right now. Speaking of Facebook, let's go ahead and I'm going to do this and this. So speaking of Facebook, right here on our Facebook page, if you scroll down, the first post on the top of the page there is going to be announcing a new sale that we have going on. So this is actually a huge deal, you guys. We are clearing out a bunch of inventory to make room for some new inventory. It is not that these are bad products. A few of them are actually just not going to exist anymore. Just a few companies have hit hard times through the pandemic. Rossmont specifically was one that we were really impressed with, enjoyed that a lot. They're all still fantastic products, and you can even see the Kessels are up here. Let's just pop you up in close. You can even see that the Kessels are up here, and obviously the Kessels are definitely not bad products at all. They're amazing lights, but again, we just we're bringing in more new stuff, so we just got to make room for those. So the Kessels are on sale, the Rossmonts are on sale, and Aquatop return pumps are also on sale. We need that space to bring in a whole ton of Seche merchandise. So popped right up here, and you can go check out this post on our Facebook page. I'm not going to linger on these too long, but just to give you an idea of like just the size of the deal you're getting on these, it's just fantastic. So I highly recommend checking that out for sure. Pop in and definitely take advantage of those deals on all of that. Like this is like half a setup for your equipment, and you can get it super cheap. So again, drop by the shop and check all that out. And while we're on our Facebook page, you can find us on pretty much any platform at TheReefIndy. Just pop in anything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, /TheReefIndy, and we'll be there. So there's our Facebook page. As you can see, we are pretty active on our Instagram account as well. Twitter there, again, TheReefIndy. We've definitely been blowing this sale up today. We are even on TikTok, so go check that out. That's kind of a new venture for us, so if you've got any ideas for us to toss some content out there, drop them in the comments, and I will jot it down. And then, of course, you're already here, our YouTube page, but you can see that we've got plenty of things for you to check out. Hey, there we are live. But we've got plenty of different types of videos, product reviews, updates on the store. We've got interviews with aquascapers, all of that. So definitely go check that out and jump into the playlists. That's what really makes it easy to break down if you're trying to find a particular type of video. Like, hey, I just want to see some good product reviews, or you know, whatever you're looking for. It should be in a playlist that you can easily find the type of videos that you're looking for. But the pièce de résistance on on the interwebs for us is our website, TheReefIndy.com. If you have not been there yet, go check it out. Even if you're not intending to purchase anything, there's a lot of great information there about the store, different things you can do. This is just the regular homepage. You can jump into our store, find gifts, merch, hardscape, which you can get some what you see, what you get stuff, which is really awesome. You can see the Neptune systems there, Bashi, Aquatop. We've got a lot of stuff up there, and the stock keeps continuing to grow on the website, so go check that out. You can even book a maintenance through us if you're in the state of Indiana, or even the outliers. We are finishing up a job in Louisville currently. I'm going to be posting a video about that here in the next week or two, so look out for that. But we do installs and things of that nature, even out of state, so pop on there and check it out. One of my favorite features on the website is our in stock. This was updated on Friday. It is updated every Friday, and this is just the new stock that came in this week, you guys. This is not a full stock list by any means, but look at how huge this list is, and it's this big every week, guys. So jump into the store and check out what we've got. We also do live fish room tours on Facebook every week, so yeah, that is something to go check out as well, and we do that every Friday. The time really varies. It depends on when the shipments are there and when I have the availability on Friday to go live, so that can vary. It's usually anywhere from like in between 2 and 4 p.m. on Friday, so check that out. Check out the in-stock list. We even have a blog. What? Lots of aquascaping stuff up on there right now. Currently, the only writer we have going on is Ryan Noel. Love Ryan. He's fantastic. You can see his interview with us on our YouTube page. That was one of our live streams weeks ago. But you can check out his blogs hanging out here. And also, I usually don't go over this on live, but I had someone ask me today about applying to work at the shop. And while we are not specifically hiring right now, we are always accepting applications, and we look at what we have first before we post up a job listing. So pop your application in if that's something that interests you, and it should. But yeah, so that's what we've got going on at the shop. Lots of very exciting things happening. But that being said, it is time to jump into our subject at hand, which is betas. And actually behind me, you can see our current selection of betas. Now, this is not a live shot. This is going to loop, but yeah, you can see our current stock of betas there, and I'm actually missing both the top and the bottom rows here, so there's even more that you're not seeing there stock wise. So we are all loaded up. If you haven't noticed, this month has been beta themed so far, and we are going to keep it that way. Our monthly contest is beta themed, and again, check that out on our Facebook page if you want to participate. Our last live stream was beta themed. The next video that we upload is going to be relatively beta themed. It's going to actually be a product review for the Decorias, so look out for that, probably posting up onto YouTube, I imagine Thursday or Friday. Going to be a good little featurette there. And then on next week's live on Tuesday here on YouTube, we will be bringing in Tim, our resident beta breeder. And he's going to come in, talk to us about breeding betas and his experiences, his setup. We're going to have photos, videos, the whole thing. So next week we will have another interview going on. So I see some people jumping in on the comments. What's going on, Audrey? What's going on, C Nasty? Ryan, what's up? We were just talking about you. Hey. Aquaballs, how's it going? And yeah, all right. So let's talk about betas, and we're gonna talk about specifically keeping other fish with betas, and which it can be done. But prerequisite to this is that you don't want to just put fish with betas in any old setup. It's not going to work with every fish, and it's definitely not going to work in every setup. If you're dealing with anything under 10 gallons, you probably don't want to add more fish to that system other than the beta you already have. If it does not have a filter or a heater, you probably want to put a filter or a heater on this setup if you want to do more fish than just the beta. And honestly, I'd recommend putting a filter and heater on the tank, even if it is just your beta. But that is another conversation, I suppose. But make sure that you have the right setup for adding multiple fish into the tank with your beta, and you don't want to cram them. Otherwise, it's just going to end poorly for a number of different reasons. I mean, you get too much fish in a small space, and they're going to just keep putting out the waste. Your ammonia, nitrates, and nitrites are going to build up, and it's going to be an awful mess for you. So that, and if they're cramped, the beta is going to get a little territorial, start going after the fish like we don't want it to. And those are just some of the reasons that you don't want to keep fish with betas in the improper setting. So I recommend, again, a bare minimum of 10 gallons. The bigger the better, but do keep in mind that betas do not prefer a very large tank, or if they're going to be in a bigger tank, make sure that there's at least a few areas of lower flow. And some sort of maybe foliage or decorations near the top that the beta can hang out and rest on, because they are, I wouldn't necessarily call betas lazy, but especially the longer fin varieties can just get wore out. They need their rest, so they'll just chill on some leaves near the surface. That way they don't have to expend too much energy getting to the surface to grab the air from the surface, because betas, after all, are labyrinth breathers. They have essentially a lung, as best as it can be described, I suppose, and yeah, they'll breathe air from the surface of the water. So they have to be able to easily get to the surface of the water. And in a taller tank that doesn't have anything like that, if it's a higher flow tank, beta is just not going to be a good option. Or if you don't have anything near the surface of a taller tank, even if it's like a 29 gallon, lower flow stuff near the surface, and then you can probably pull it off, especially if you're going for one of those shorter fin varieties like a placat style beta with the nice short fins. Like, okay, this is the beta body, and this is the placat fins, right? And then this is like a half moon fin. I needed a PowerPoint today, I guess, but maybe that'll be another stream. So make sure you do have the proper environment for all that. That being said, let's actually talk about the fish that you can keep with betas. So the first thing we want to do is, in general, we want to keep these fish community fish that we add in with our betas. Anything like even like tiger barbs, which are categorized as semi-aggressive, are going to be much too nippy on a beta's fins to feasibly keep them together. So you don't want to be doing that. So obviously, just pretty much any cichlids are going to be out of the question. I would even avoid your community cichlids like rams and apistos and things like that. There's just going to be too much personality in that tank. So again, definitely keep it community, whatever you decide to do. Now, a few of my favorites, and I'm going to kind of start from the bottom of my list, and we're going to talk about, let's say, our top 5, okay? I'm probably going to discuss more than 5, but I'm going to focus on roughly about 5 different species that I love keeping with betas. So the first thing I want to discuss is fish with a function. Let's talk algae eaters. So some good additions into a beta tank would be snails. Now, there's several varieties that you could choose from. There's the nerite snails, mystery snails. A lot of people like to do ram's horns nowadays, even though that they can be quite prolific. They're just so fun to watch. And that whole the spirals, it's just a pretty cool snail. Super common, but again, very prolific. And you can even do some fancier snails, like the rabbit type snails, like the devil's spike, the yellow rabbits, orange rabbits. There's a couple other species that kind of fall into that spiked snail category. But yeah, the snails are a fantastic addition. Obviously, they've got that shell. The beta's not going to be able to bug it at all. Another good algae eater option would be Autocinclus, and we've talked about those in a few videos before, but they're just such a versatile fish. They stay nice and small. They're still armored just as any other catfish, so they're gonna put up with they can put up with some aggression and be perfectly fine. But yeah, those are fantastic as well, and they can actually get up onto the walls on your plants and help clean those off. So they're also very effective cleaners as well. So that's probably my first 2 favorites as far as fish to put in with betas. Next, I kind of wanted to talk about tetras, but before I do get into tetras, welcome if you've just joined us. We are talking about fish that can go with betas. And at the end of this stream, we are going to be treating this as an open Q&A. So if you do have any questions about what we are talking about, the aquarium hobby in general, or the Reef Aquarium shop, which is where I am right now in Indianapolis, Indiana, drop those questions in the comments, and at the end of the stream, I will be ecstatic to answer those questions for you. But now let's talk tetras. So my personal favorite, and if you watch the live streams on Facebook where we do the fish room tours, you will already know that my favorite tetra is the Ember tetra. They stay nice and small, just about the size of a neon, though it's a slightly different shape. And they're going to be a bright glowing orange. I mean, when you see them in the shop, and they're pretty tiny, they're gonna look like a rust orange or like a duller, maybe burnt orange coloration, but as they grow and mature, that just gets super bold and vibrant. You can even toss in some like cyclops or feed them up on red worms, extra chopped krill, which you'll have to do yourself. All of these are going to help bring out those red colorations, and they really pop in a tank. So tetra wise, that is probably hands down my favorite. And then the other one that is really good is the all-time classic neon tetra. And you don't really have to stick with the classic neon tetras. Any of the tetras in that neon category are going to work great. The standard neons, black neons, cardinals even, and you've even got those like the diamond neons and things of that nature. It's essentially a variant off the same fish, so they all work wonderfully. So these are all going to be schooling fish that you'll want to get multiples of. But if we're talking about nice aesthetics, fish to go with your beta, using your beta as a showpiece, honestly, schooling fish are the best. They're going to stay smaller than the beta for the most part, as long as we're picking the right ones like we're discussing. But they'll stay smaller, you'll have multiples, and they're going to be the activity kind of drawing the eye to the aquarium, and then your beta is going to be that showpiece, that, oh wow, look at that kind of attraction in your tank. So these are all... I've picked these for aesthetics as well to pair with your betas. So those are probably the next two. So we've hit up 4 already, but probably hands down my favorite, and honestly, I took a poll at the shop. Actually, it was just today. It wasn't the whole shop. So of all the employees, hey, what's your favorite fish to put in with betas? And I got the same answer from everyone, and it's probably my first answer as well, outside of those ember tetras, and it's white clouds. White cloud mountain minnows are super hardy. They're gorgeous. There's a couple different varieties of them that you can actually mix together, and they'll school together. So if you do like 3 standards and 3 golds, or you know, if you want to pop an odd number in there, you can do a 3 and 2, and they should be fine. But white clouds are fantastic. Now there is a long fin variety of the white cloud, and you're gonna want to avoid those because the beta's probably gonna get nippy on those longer fins, and we don't want that. And I'm going to talk about that in here in just a minute. But white clouds are super hardy. They pair well. They're not going to get nippy with the beta. Like we were talking about before, we want to keep it to community fish. And all of these fish that we have mentioned are not going to be messing with that beta either, which is very important. But yeah, there's a lot of, even some community fish, like you can get some more aggressive tetra species, or more active tetra species, I suppose. They're actually going to get nippy on that beta, and again, we're trying to avoid that because we want an ideal situation, of course. So my number 1 pick, and in the store's number 1 pick, is going to be white clouds. And I guess that's an important thing to note as well, is everyone's going to have their personal preferences too. While we do try to stay on point with giving consistent information on care and things of that nature, this can also a lot of times come down to preference. Yes, absolutely, there are certain parameters we're trying to stick within, but where maybe my personal answer actually would lean more towards ember tetras. A lot of people will go white clouds. A lot of people say the best one's neons, and the answer to all those is yes. They're all fantastic. So some of these lists honestly come down a lot to preference. So I find that very interesting. Again, any questions, drop them in the comments, and I will get to those ASAP. And I'm going to get into what not to put with betas. So obviously we talked about keeping it community oriented, which is very important. You don't want the fish that you're adding in with your beta to go after your beta. That's not something we're trying to accomplish here. So obviously we were talking about it earlier. Avoid aggressive fish. Avoid your cichlids. Even the community type cichlids you're going to want to avoid as well. Betas have some big personalities, and so do those cichlids. So you'll want to keep them apart. Speaking of personalities, betas are just a gourami, and betas do not get along with other betas. So betas are also not going to get along with other gouramis. A lot of people want to try to keep bettas with honey gouramis or dwarf gouramis, which in theory, like size-wise, makes sense, but they do not play well. They get very territorial and aggressive towards each other. So for the same reason we don't put bettas with other bettas, you don't want to put bettas with gouramis. And again, we talked about, kind of hit up on this earlier with the white clouds, talking about there being a longfin variety of those. There's something else you want to avoid. It's long fins. So that excludes guppies from the lists. Even endlers, which are a little smaller finned, they're going to be colorful, flashy, and that betta is jealous. It is quite vain and wants to be the finniest, prettiest fish in the tank, and it will fight you for it. So guppies are going to be a no-no. Anything with long fins are going to be a no-no. It's just something you want to avoid. So that is my spiel on fish that you can keep with bettas. If you think that I missed a good one, whether you're watching this live or not, drop it in the comments. What do you keep with your bettas at home? I would love to know what's working for you. So I'm going to jump into the comments here. Hopefully it won't take me too long to dig. Oh, okay. You guys haven't been too talkative today yet. Oh, I didn't see this. C Nasty said, one of my betta fish just died today. That's weird. This is the topic. It's going to be the topic all month, man, and I'm sorry to hear that. If you watch my micro pond series, which I feel like I've recommended my micro pond series like a lot during the live streams, but I love that series because I love my micro pond. And the whole reason it turned into a sorority the way it did of koi bettas is because I lost my male betta out of there, which I was going to give him his whole new setup and do a koi betta female sorority into the pond, and it was going to be a whole thing. But I lost that betta, so it was a very sad day. I was sad for like 2 or 3 days after that, to be honest, because he greeted me every day when I walked in here, and that's I go into this story in this video, but that's part of the reason that I lost him, I think. But if you want to know more about that, check out that video, and I'll link it above later after we go down. So if you're not watching live, you have a direct link to that, and you can just click it and find out what happened. But that's also the same video where I do turn it into a sorority, so that's a cool video to watch about betta sororities, which I am probably, so I talked about this next live stream. We're going to be interviewing Tim, our resident betta breeder. He's actually one of our service technicians, so he's in here all the time, and if you ever have any questions about bettas, we are happy to bring him on and answer some questions for you. But which is, again, a lot of what we're going to be doing next Tuesday when Tim comes on. But the Tuesday after that, I am probably going to be focusing on sororities. That is penciled in tentatively, but that is the plan currently, unless something else pops up. So that's fun. You know, rabbit holes. We get on those with these Q&As, and that's probably my favorite part about these Q&As. Ryan saying that sounds super interesting. Can't wait to hear from Tim. I'm excited about it. Tim's a good friend of mine as well, as a coworker, and it's gonna be a good stream next week. I'm excited about it. Aquaballs. I have a 120-gallon planted tank with all kinds of fish and a betta in there. That's fantastic, and probably your saving grace there is that it's planted so it can hang out near the top, because as I was talking about before, typically you're going to want a short area where your betta is going to be hanging out to where the surface of the water is, so it's not going to expend too much energy getting to the top of the tank to grab that air. But that's awesome. What other fish do you have in there? Oh, you tell me in the, in the next comment. Angels, rainbow, tetra, shrimp. Cool. Oh, yeah, and rainbows are a decent one, depending on the rainbow. I have seen some rainbows and angels, for that matter, get nippy. So usually those aren't ones I would typically recommend, but there's exceptions to every rule. Shrimp is another interesting one. I've had that go both ways, actually. I've had betas be totally fine with shrimp in the tank, and I've also had them massacre shrimp in a tank. Honestly, I find what works best personally are ghost shrimp. They're a little harder for those betas to hunt down, and by comparison to like neocardinias, like cherry shrimp, they're going to get much larger. So I've also seen people do a mono shrimp, which are a very similar shrimp, but maybe a little more interesting in pattern than ghost shrimp. They also serve a little bit better function as a cleaner than ghost shrimp, but honestly, ghost shrimp get a bad rap, and they're used mostly as feeders, but they're pretty cool to watch. They're just real glassy, fun to like find in the tank, and they're great cleaners as well. So if you guys do want to try to do shrimp with your betas, which is again tends to be a very hit and miss, try some ghost shrimp. Worst case scenario, your beta kills the shrimp. Make sure you're pulling it out of the tank if that does happen. And you know, again, they're used as feeders, so they serve their purpose, I suppose. It's a test. Fam G says, "What's up?" Hey fam. Ryan says, "The diamond tetras in your discus display tank was an inspired choice. They look amazing." Inspired choice. I like that. I like that word choice. That word choice was inspired, Ryan. But yes. Excuse me. Been talking. But yeah, diamond tetras are so underrated, and I wish more people were keeping diamond tetras. So they do get a little larger than your standard tetra. I'm just going to give you actual information here. How big do they actually get? 2.3 inches. So that is a decent size for a tetra to get. So I think that might be one of the reasons that they haven't been quite as popular. Another reason that they're not quite as popular is that they don't look great when they're small. So the diamond tetras, each individual scale becomes like metallic and flashy, right? Almost not quite, but almost mirror-like. And as the light hits those individual scales, it just sparkles like a little disco ball in your tank. So imagine like a school of like 2.5-inch disco balls just going all through your tank, sparkling in the light. That's what happens when they're adults, and you kind of have to wait a hot minute for that to happen. So the ones in the display aren't there yet, although they are starting to get those scales in. They kind of come in like one at a time, just right on the fish, and you'll see them just kind of one day, oh, there's 2 or 3 more sparkles on that fish, and then one day it's just a glimmering party of a school of tetras, and they're so cool. So if you haven't kept diamond tetras, we have them in the shop currently in stock, and unless someone has went and purchased them all since I last looked, which, you know, that can happen. But diamonds are everyone's best friend. Diamonds are a fish tank's best friend as far as tetras are concerned. I wouldn't really put like actual diamonds in your fish tank, but you could, yeah. And yeah, oh yeah, I've got plenty in stock. Yeah. It says 58 currently in stock. So come get some diamond tetras. And while you're here, or while you're there, check out the display tank, the 315-gallon discus display tank that Ryan's talking about, that we have put them in. Again, they are not at that maturity level where I'm talking about, where they're like disco balls yet. But you can see them in number and see that they're starting to get those sparklings in. Let's see here. Got another question. I think I want to add brilliant hatchet Danio. Insert Latin name there. I'm always excited to try pronouncing Latin, but sometimes I have to. Laubuca Daddy Bergiori. Labuca Daddy Bergiori. All right, let's look that up. To the Google machine. To my contest tank. That's such an exciting thing to do, having a contest tank. And what Ryan's talking about with a contest tank. Oh, the Dadios. Okay. Okay, yes. So I'm looking at these now, and just to make sure that I'm not showing you like copyrighted images, I'm not going to pull up what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at the Seriously Fish profile currently. Which doesn't really have the best picture of this, but I love these fish. So let's finish the question. Thinking of adding the hatchet Danios to my contest tank, but I read that they may be jumpers. My tank is an open top. Bad idea. Perhaps, yeah. If you're doing a decent amount of surface plants on there, which I don't think you are for that particular tank, but if anyone else is trying this, yeah, they can be jumpers. I mean, any of those surface dwelling tetras, danios, any of those surface dwelling fish, even bettas. Speaking of bettas are known jumpers. That's how I lost my last betta. Was it just popped right out of the tank because I had my water level too high. So that's one thing you could do depending on your setup and if it's going to look good or not. Drop your water level down if you have some known jumpers. But there's something, what is it called? Your risk something, not risk factor, your risk tolerance. There is a certain amount of risk tolerance that you can practice here. You can give it a go, see what happens, and if you get some jumpers, pull them out, either stick them in a new tank or a different tank with a lid, or if you're local, you can always donate them back to the shop. If it doesn't work out, typically you got to call ahead. Make sure you call ahead before you do anything like that. But yeah, if you're willing to risk the potential loss to see if it's going to work, go for it. Everyone has their threshold, but yes, to answer your question directly, they can be jumpers. I don't think they're like the most known jumpers, like these guys are going to constantly jump out of your tank jumpers. But yeah, the answer is yes still. They are jumpers. Not necessarily that it is a bad idea. Again, risk thresholds. And while I do have you here, that is the last question in the comments. I will spiel for a moment, and if I don't get any more questions, we will wrap the stream up. But again, I am happy to hang out here as long as the fresh questions keep coming. So if you do have any questions about keeping bettas, the aquarium hobby in general, you can even throw some salt questions my way, and I will be happy to answer those to the best of my knowledge, or tell you that I don't know the answer, honestly. And yeah, or you can ask questions about the Reef Aquarium Shop, whatever you want to ask questions about, as long as it's on topic in aquarium keeping in general. Drop those in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer those for you. It's not a question, but a very correct statement. Chase Robinson says, the beard is looking fresh tonight, Bob Moss. Thank you, Chase. Thank you. I worked on it. I work on my beard, I guess. Not really. I don't. I work on growing it. But yeah, that being said, I have jumped onto the Google machine several times in this stream tonight, and I guess want to make a point to just tell you to research the fish. Research everything before you drop it into your tank. Just don't run around willy-nilly. Now, Yes. Can you do some impulse purchasing? Absolutely. But you gotta know the limits, and you don't want to put anything in a bad situation, unintentionally or not. So always do your research, and even myself. Like again, I keep referring back to the Facebook streams, but if you do watch our Facebook room tours, I'll give you some general knowledge. Like if I come across a fish that I'm not necessarily familiar with, I will give you the knowledge I do know about fish that are like that, and then I'll tell you to go Google it. So even if you're getting advice from me here, like it doesn't matter what question I've answered for you, feel free to double check me, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to know about it because I don't want to be wrong. But yeah, double check me. Double check any information you're getting. Always find multiple sources. I find that is the best way to get just about any piece of information, is to get it from multiple sources, and look up these fish that you're looking into. And again, I'm still looking at these Dadio. I know them as the Dadio Danios, or the orange hatchet Danios, which I don't know if they're. I don't actually think. Are they in the Danio category specifically? They might be just a very similar fish, but 20 to 30 millimeters. How big is that? Are those gonna, Ryan? Going back to your question, are those going to stay small enough for that tank? I forget how much or how many gallons that that contest tank is that you're working on. But yeah, Audrey says even veteran keepers make bad impulse purchases. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I got a tank that I can stick that in. I'm gonna have to move a few fish around or something. You know, we all make impulse purchases without looking anything up. But the beautiful thing about the year 2021. Is that like 95% of us have one of these in your pocket, and you have the world at your fingertips. You can look up just about anything you want on the go and figure it out. Actually, they didn't work that well, but at one point in the store, I had put up QR codes on every tank, linking you to a fish profile of. I tried to do it for every fish in every tank, but it did not get that way, and it did not get used that often, probably because like QR died, but it's coming back apparently, I guess. I don't know. Is it? But that was interesting. I loved the concept, but honestly, at this point, you can just look at the tag and Google the name, and you're right there anyway, with a variety of different profiles at your fingertips instead of the one that I was just sending you to, which I believe was Seriously Fish, or was it Aquarium Community or something like that? It was one of those. Let's see here. Chase says, been thinking about those diamond tetras. Would a school be a good addition with 3 black lace angels and an electric blue acara? Do the shiny scales of the tetras attract bigger fish to attack them? Good question and a good thought. Honestly, I'm gonna say no. I would assume it would be more of a finnage type of thing. Yeah, the scales are going to be bright, but specifically speaking, those angels are going to be perfectly fine with those diamond tetras. They're not going to be able to keep up with them to try anything. The diamonds are we're keeping them with discus currently, so obviously the diamonds are going to leave the angels alone. And as far as the random bug, as far as the electric blue acara goes, for the most part, I've seen them be super chill with tetras. Again, we're going back to, this is going to be pretty similar to what we're keeping with bettas. Keep no long fins, and honestly, you should be fine. Yeah, you should be fine. The only thing I would really worry about maybe is that electric blue Acara, but if he has like a space or a cave or whatnot, it's probably going to just be hanging out there and defending that, and not being directly aggressive towards the Tetras, if that makes sense. You might see a little bit of, hey, get out of my space, and he might actually do some decent damage doing that. But those diamond Tetras should be able to steer clear and get out of his area, and he should not continue to pursue. That is all in theory and could go horribly wrong once you actually try it. But I've again, a lot of your cichlid species can take on a calmer personality or a more aggressive personality. I've seen that in so many of your like semi-aggressive style cichlids, like the electric blue Acara, Severums, blood parrots, kind of things in that nature, some of your earth eaters. I have just seen particular individuals of the same species be more aggressive than the other, which is why I say that. But on paper, it should work. I would go for it if it was my tank. Yeah. Give it a go. Audrey says, speaking of talking about the impulse buys, I believe, for me it was a Jewel Spot ANOSTTOMUS. Did I sell you that Jewel Spot? I think I remember this, but maybe not. Maybe this was another ANOSTTOMUS you grabbed. So she says, for me it was a Jewel Spot ANOSTTOMUS. Saw one for the first time and it was barely half an inch. Wow. Bought it thinking it was a mini one. They did not stay that small, did it? It's about an inch now and on its way to a 6 to 8 and too big for my tanks. Why do I love large Characins so much? Because large Characins are cool. That's why. ANOSTTOMUS are just a cool species in general. If you're not familiar with the species, Google machine. And check those out. There's some fun fish, but they can be pretty particular with their requirements as far as what you can keep them with, how big of a tank you're going to need. So look into those. Definitely a fish that probably shouldn't be impulse bought at all. But to the point, it happens. No, I sold you. She's saying, no, I sold you the ANOSTTOMUS years ago, and he's doing amazing. Awesome. Is the 6 inches and king of the tank. I bet it's king of the tank. Ryan says, COVID brought QR codes back. Did it? Really? Maybe I should get back into QR codes. Wow. Speaking of risk tolerance, Chase says, my risk tolerance was high when I decided to work an electric blue Acara in as my centerpiece for South America community. The blue really pops though. Yeah. We all have our risk tolerance thresholds. There's obviously things that are absolutely not going to work that you shouldn't try. But there's also plenty of situations where it's like, oh, that could work. One way to find out. So yeah. No, I love electric blue Acaras, and I have found that electric blue Acaras do indeed mix well with a lot of different things. And of course, there's plenty of stuff you're not going to want to put with it. But let's see here. John's illustration says my favorite is the koi carp. Yeah, koi are carp, and koi are really fun to keep, but they get massive. I did see a really cool koi tank that was a massive fish tank, like actual glass. And not just like an indoor pond or something, which, or outdoor pond is where they typically go. But yeah, koi are amazing. And I am very excited. We are going to be redoing the store very soon, coming up, giving it a huge facelift, or that's the current plan anyway, which that's always subject to change. But we've got a lot of we got a lot of spoons in the pot, so to speak, coming up in the very near future. So we are actually looking to expand our pond section by a significant amount. And we are going to get a little creative in the way we do that. So that is, I'm super excited about that. And it is almost pond season. And totally off topic, but let's talk about pond season. Don't start anything yet. No, it's not time. I understand that it got warm, but it doesn't stay warm at night. Don't pull your koi out of hibernation if that's something that you do. As far as like feeding your fish at a certain temperature, you're not supposed to feed your koi anymore. It's like 50 something degrees in the water. That's when you're supposed to stop feeding them, let them go into winter mode, and then once the water gets above 50 something, I think it's like 52, 53 degrees, it's going to be right in that range. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know the specific temperature, drop it in the comments and I will regurgitate that. But it's right around that range. But don't start feeding your koi yet. Yes, it's getting warm, but we're still dropping down real low in the evenings if you are where I am in Indianapolis. But it's all temperature based, so no matter where you are, watch your temperatures and don't start kicking in this stuff too early. And that goes for your chemicals as well. I wouldn't start your springtime regimen just yet either. Wait till here in Indiana, I'm typically waiting till around April or so to kick in my spring chemicals. I mean, if you've done it already and you're doing it and you're feeding your fish and you put your spring chemicals in, it's not like a huge deal, but yeah, it could potentially cause some health issues, so avoid it. Yeah. Audrey asks, are you guys taking special orders for pond fish? We're always taking special orders for pretty much any fish that we think we can get in. What did you have in mind? Last year, our koi availability was atrocious, but we are, what is it, like today, or not today, but it's this month where we hit our 1 year happy COVID anniversary. So pond season last year was a bit of a wreck availability wise. We had plenty in stock, but as far as getting specific things for people, that was a nightmare. We couldn't do it. We were just stuck with the assortment we had, which was still a decent variety. It was typically like anywhere from 3 to 5 different koi variants. And then, you know, we still had availability on sarasas and shabunkins, and other pond fish like that. But if someone was looking for something specific, like I want a yamabuki, or I want a sakura, or, you know, a black koi, anything like that, where they were wanting something specific, that was a little difficult to do last year. So we are very much hoping for an easier route to that this year. Specifically speaking in koi, right now our special availability, or special orders availability, is pretty open now, for freshwater in particular. I don't know if some of you noticed the post we made maybe a month or two ago about some Hawaiian fisheries shutting down. Saltwater wise, a few fish have been a little more difficult to actually special order in specifically. So, but yeah, if you're looking for just about any freshwater fish right now, we're pretty good on availability, and it's just going to get better from here, y'all. Spring and summer, if you're looking for oddball species, or if you've been waiting for this particular fish to show up that's pretty rare, most of those tend to be seasonal, so you're going to find them typically in the spring and summer times coming into the shops. because their breeding season has just started down south, or wherever they're from. Anyway, blah 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 blah. So that is prime time for finding special order stuff here, starting probably in a month or two. And yeah, I am always excited for springtime availability. Springtime availability for the fish stores. Audrey says, I'm not sure what it's called, but it is the goldfish with the body of a comet and has the fantail back fins. My mom found one online and fell in love with it. Never saw one in a store. I think it's just simply a fantail comet goldfish is what it's referred to as. I guess you're referring to that that triangle shape, I believe, where the fins are like that in the back end. And yeah, we've been able to find those. And I actually don't know off the top of my head what that specific variant is called either, but I can figure it out and shoot you a message later or something like that, or pop it in the comments or something. I know how to get a hold of you, Audrey. Chase asks, speaking of hairy puffers, or speaking of special orders, did ever see any hairy puffers on the list? Yeah, occasionally. We actually saw some probably a few months ago and had them in. But yeah, if you want to get on our special orders list, the most direct way and quickest way to do it is to call the shop directly to get put on the list. But you can also send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we can get you on the special orders list that way as well. So we'll just get your information, start hunting for the fish for you, and then give you a call when we find it or when it arrives, depending on what you want to do about that. So yeah, and again, springtime, it's coming. Springtime availability, it's around the corner. Ryan Noel has a fantastic question. Container ponds. Can you special order in-ground pond equipment? Yeah. But it depends on exactly what you're looking for. We do have access to stuff like that, and we don't necessarily have a ton of that in store, but we can get the weirs and things of that nature if you're looking for those. We can get the return pumps. We can get fountains, lights. We typically have in stock those in pond filter kits. As for the containers themselves, we have been known to bring them in the past, but they just really haven't been all that popular. Typically, people are coming in with their the container part of it already going for them. Typically, they find the container or buy the container somehow, and then are like, how do I put this together? and come in for the equipment. But yes, if you are looking for something specific, we can absolutely hunt it down for you and do have availability as far as finding that. So let us know. Let us know. If you're just joining us, welcome. We have been discussing good tank mates for betas, but we are done talking about that now. So if you missed it, we will probably be wrapping up here in the next minute or two, so you can just start from the beginning and get all that fantastic information. If you do have any questions, whether you are watching this live or after it is posted, go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. It can be about our topic at hand, which is betas, betas in general, go for it. The aquarium keeping hobby in general, go for it. The Reef Aquarium shop, go for it. Drop them in the comments and I will be happy to answer those. But I am going to, and if I do see the comment or questions in the comments, I will absolutely answer those. But I am going to start wrapping this up, and I do want to. I talked about this in the beginning, but for those of you who are just joining us, I do want to talk about the sale we have going on in the store right now. Here we are on our Facebook page, the pinned post, and we have made a post about this on Everything except, I mean, we're talking about it now here on YouTube, so officially the sale is on YouTube. But we've talked about it like everywhere except for like TikTok. So jump on any of our social medias and you can find it. But we have a bunch of Kessels, a bunch of Rossmonts, and a bunch of Aquatop return pumps on sale currently. And to get an idea of what kind of deals we have running on those, here is a quick view of those prices. But if you want more information on that, jump on, like I said, any of our social media pages, but you'll get the most information out of Facebook and Instagram. So check that out. Those deal. I don't think no, none of these products are online, but the deal is only in store. So drop by and check all of those out. And if you haven't done so yet, and if you've got some good information on this out of this video, or you're enjoying this discussion, please give this video a like. And while you're at it, also, if you have not done so yet, hit that subscribe button down there. I would be happy, I would be thrilled to have you on as a subscriber, so you can get that notification every time we go live like this, and every time we post new content, which I need to post. I need to upload a video soon. I skipped last week because we have been so busy here. Just, things on the up and up. I'd have so much to say and so much to do and not near enough time to just get any of it out. So yeah, look forward to this week's upload about, it's going to be a quick spotlight on the cobalt decorias that I'm very excited about. We are giving one of those away this month through our Facebook contest. It is an art contest. Betas are the theme. For all the information on that, go to our Facebook page. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, asking your questions. That is definitely what keeps these live streams going, is your questions and input. Speaking of input, should you have any ideas for what you want to see content-wise, whether it be on these live streams or an upload, also drop your suggestions in the comments. We love to hear about what you want to see. We want to put out what you want to see. So let us know, and we'll work on it for you. Again, next week we will have Tim, the beta breeder, and our service technician hanging out with us, talking about breeding betas, and we'll check out his whole setup and everything. So that is going to be awesome. Oh, Audrey, fantastic question. And I was moments away from saying, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you later. But this is definitely something I would like to address. So Audrey asks, did the Reef get zebra mussel infested moss balls, or did you guys dodge that? We dodged that. We don't get them from that same location. So it looked as if they were pretty localized to that one brand. I don't know if you guys know what we're talking about here, but recently at one of the box chains, and I'm not sure if it was Smart or Co, and it might have been none of the above, but recently there was zebra mussels found living inside of their moss balls, which are in these branded containers from a particular brand. And to my knowledge, last I saw, if you have different information, please, I would love to hear it, but to my knowledge, those were pretty localized into those particular ones. Zebra mussels are bad to get into your tank, or really in any wild systems, just because they are very invasive. Honestly, I believe you can find zebra mussels around here, but yeah, they are quite invasive, and if you're out in like the streams and stuff and you step on them, you can really cut your feet up real bad. So yes, they are not desirable at all. No, we were not affected at all, and we sure did check once we found that out. And no, we're clean. So Audrey, thank you for that question. I probably wouldn't have talked about it otherwise. That's why you ask the questions. Again, thanks guys for hanging out. Now I will do it. Thanks guys for hanging out. We'll see you next time. And if I don't see you on Friday on Facebook for the room tour, we'll see you back here next week when we talk to Tim about